Welcome back to another 6610 video. Today we are continuing our Sales AI Agent series, and we're going to be building out one of the key tools in a SDR's tool belt, which is the battle card. It's one of the tools that a lot of SDRs use to prep for meetings, and we're going to show you a really quick, easy method to do this using Sales AI Agents, and we're going to build it out together. As always, guys, we have to go through our goals and what we hope to accomplish with our sales AI agent that can build a battle card. So first things first, we're going to connect to Google Sheets to pull in some of our prospect data. From there, we're going to grab the company and prospect LinkedIn profile. Then we're going to get details about each LinkedIn profile. We're also going to get the latest news through Google News. Then we're going to use ChatGPT to provide us with some guidance on how to best sell to this company and this prospect. And lastly, we're going to put all of this data back into a Google Sheet so we can easily reference it and use it to prep for our meeting. A couple of important links. We're going to build this out in the N8N platform, and I'm going to walk you through that today. And we are also going to use a couple of Appify actors, which are the LinkedIn Company Scraper, the LinkedIn Profile Scraper, and Google News Scraper. So first things first, if you do not have an account already, go to n8n.io and you can sign up for an account there. That is going to be the tool we're going to be using in this video. Also, head on over to appify.com and sign up for an account there because we're going to use their actors to pull in a lot of our data here. All right, so we're going to go through and prepare our Google Sheet and organize it in the manner that fits best for us. In this example here, we're going to try to prospect Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce. So in here, I've already provided the LinkedIn profile, the company LinkedIn profile, and the company website. Using our N8N platform, we hope to fill in the rest of the information to create a battle card that we could use for meeting prep. So I'm going to dive into N8N here, and I'm going to create a new workflow. First things first, I'm going to pick my trigger, and I'm going to pick a trigger of Google Sheets, and I'm going to require it to update when a new row is added. So as always, guys, if you do not have your credentials set up at the top here, you're going to hit create new credential, and then you're just going to sign in with Google, and that will allow you to pull in all of your Google Sheet data and utilize it within the platform. So we're going to go ahead here in the documents and pick our document, which is the meeting preparation battle cards. Then we're going to pick which sheet within the document we would like to use, and we're going to hit fetch test event. So from here, we're seeing that it is pulling in our data successfully, meaning we've pulled in the correct Google Sheet. We're going to continue on building. Next up, now that we've figured out our trigger, we're now going to have to get the details from the Google Sheet. I'm going to go ahead here and add a new node for Google Sheet, but this time we're going to do get rows in sheet. Once again, make sure you pick your credentials at the top there and then pick the same Google Sheet that we are referencing below. This time though, I'm going to look here and my data really does not start on the first row. It starts on the third row. I have some headers here set up. So I'm going to go ahead here at the bottom, add option, data location on sheet. And instead of doing automatically, I'm just going to specify rows and I'm going to say, okay, row 1 is a header and the first data row is actually row 3. We're going to test our node there and we'll see that it does actually return to us row number 3 has all these details here. So that's awesome. As the sheet grows, it will add on more rows to it. So we should build it in a way to be able to handle that. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a loop over items node. And what this does is it allows us to loop through all of the rows that get appended to the Google Sheet. So for right now, we only have one row. So it's only going to return us one item, which is perfectly fine for our demo. but we're building this to be future proof, so it's better to add in the loop over items. All right, next up, now that we've gotten the loop over items, we are going to start grabbing some of our data that we need. So we're going to go ahead and press add and make a HTTP request. And this is where we're going to start calling the Appify API to grab some data for us. So let's get some details now about Mark. I'm going to go back to Appify here, and I'm going to start getting the API endpoints that are important to execute this. So first things first, at the top right here, I'm going to hit API, then I'm going to hit API endpoints. There's a ton of different actor API endpoints that you could use, but for our purposes, we're going to use the run actor synchronously and get dataset items. So we're going to copy that link. We're going to go back to N8N, and we're going to put in our URL. Thankfully, Appify does a really cool trick where it just includes your token in the URL right away. So you don't have to grab that from anywhere else. Once you copy that, you are authenticated, essentially. However, it is important to look at the method type. In this example here, the method type is post. So we're going to go back here and update this to post. And we will be sending this a JSON object. So we're going to have to update our headers here. And we're going to type in the top here, content / type or dash type. And then we're going to write application / JSON. This is just to indicate to the API that we're going to be sending a JSON object here. Next up, we're going to do send body. And for the send body, we're going to specify the body to use a JSON object once again. We're going to go back to Appify. And Appify has a really cool tool where it allows you to run things locally on their website, but it also helps you produce the JSON object. So we're going to go ahead and hit JSON here. By default, it'll be on manual. And we're going to grab that and drop that into our JSON body. So for us now, we need to pre-fill this with every row's LinkedIn profile URL. So we're going to go ahead and delete this and pull over our variable for the profile. I'm going to put that in between the parentheses. And now when I test this step, it should provide me with some details about Mark based on what's in his LinkedIn profile. All right, and just like that. So we got essentially his entire LinkedIn profile pulled down here, right? We have his name. We have the number of connections that he has, the number of followers, the location, etc. A lot of valuable information to use when building out a battle card to better prep for meetings. All right, now that we got that, let's go ahead and grab the company information while we're at it. So we're going to do another HTTP request here. And this time we're just going to use a different actor, but it's the same concept. I'm going to go back to API endpoints, and I'm going to do run actor synchronously and get the latest data set. And I'm going to go back here, and I'm just going to double check my method type is post. And once again, I'm going to put in my headers here, content - type, and then application / JSON. And once again, send body. So I'm going to go ahead here, back here, and grab the JSON object that it requires, which this one is also fairly straightforward and simple. And I'm going to put in, now this time we're going to be getting the company data. So rather than get the profile of the actual prospect, we're going to get the company URL this time. So the JSON object here on the left, you'll now have your HTTP request, so you could close that out and you could grab your variable. And once again, we'll put that in between the parentheses, and then we'll run a quick test here. And this should return us all of the LinkedIn details about the Salesforce company profile this time. So let's just wait for that to go through. And just like that, we got an output that contains all of the details of the company profile in LinkedIn. So for example, we also have all of the company locations that they have listed out on the website, as well as different details like the company type, right? What countries do they work in? Crunchbase URL, description, so on and so forth. So a lot of valuable data we can get from the LinkedIn profile. So we're pulling that in, and that will further expand the knowledge that is included in our battle cards. All right, now we have the company profile, and we also have the person LinkedIn profile. Next up here, we're going to start to grab the news articles that are coming in. So once again, we're going to go ahead and add in another HTTP request. And this time we're going to use the Google News Scraper. So for this endpoint here, once again, similar concept. As you see, once you get integrated with one Appify API, it's pretty straightforward to use them for other things. And we're just going to add our headers here, as always. Application \JSON, send body. So this API here has a really great feature where it allows you to get the time period that you want the news for, as well as different search queries, maximum number of items, Google country, etc. So here I've added in a search query of Salesforce. I've added in the Google country as United States, and I'm trying to get the latest news because I have a meeting with this prospect soon. So I'm looking to get the latest and greatest there. So I'm going to go ahead, grab my JSON object, and throw that into my HTTP node. And then I'll do a test step here. And this, in theory, will return me 100 different articles from Google News about Salesforce. And just like that, we have 100 new news articles that are a week old through Google News. All right. So we have 3 now HTTP requests. It seems a little disorganized, so to better help us, I'm just going to go ahead here and click into the settings and just describe what each of these nodes are doing. So this one is getting person LinkedIn profile details. And then we'll add display note in flow. And then this one, get company LinkedIn profile details, and display that note in flow. And then get company news, we'll display that in flow as well. So now we have a little bit more of a clear understanding about each of these HTTP requests are actually doing. All right, so our news node here is actually going to return to us 100 different items. For me, I don't really have time to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and limit this to 1 item. So this will now only return to me the first news article that has come out, and it should be the latest and greatest news there. So that should be more than enough for me to do some reading and research to prepare for my meeting. All right, now that we've got that, let's start writing out some descriptions based on the information that we've gathered. So I'm going to go ahead here and add in a new node, and I'm going to use a basic LLM chain, okay? So what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to integrate with OpenAI, and I've gone ahead here and just selected OpenAI chat model, and I'm going to stick with the 4.0 mini because at the current moment it is the most cost effective. And then I'm going to go back to my LLM chain node, and I'm going to change this to be a prompt, and I'm going to write, give me a short description about what this person and company does. Include the following details. And we're just going to throw in here some of our variables that we grabbed from LinkedIn. So if I minimize this, and minimize this one, so we can use, for example, here, the description of Mark. So we'll just throw that in here. So prospect description. And then we'll write here company description. And it doesn't look like Salesforce has provided a lot of details in the description, but we will use it anyway because that is as much as they've provided for this current test. So I'm going to go ahead here and run this test. So now we're going to use AI essentially to review all the descriptions and give us a summary that we can use in our battle card. And just to include that in the notes as well, company plus prospect summary, just so we don't get confused. All right, we're going to do one more LLM node here to give us some guidance on how to sell to this prospect and this company. All right, so we're going to go ahead once again, select our model. We're going to pick the OpenAI model. We're going to go back here and we are going to add a prompt. So I'm just going to write here, I am trying to sell this company a custom tailored sales AI agent. Based on the prospect and company information below, give me guidance on how to sell my offering to this prospect. All right, and then we're going to include here prospect description. We're going to go back here and add our description. We will also include another description for the company. And unfortunately, once again, Salesforce has not really provided us with a lot of great details there, but most companies do provide a lot of detail there. But this should be more than enough and sufficient for this demo. So we're going to run that here. And while that's running, we'll update our node to say sales guidance. Just like that, we have some details on how to sell to this client and this prospect our offering in the best manner. So we're going to go back, and now that we've collected all of our data, let's start building out our battle card and putting it into our Google Sheet. So we're going to go ahead and create a new Google Sheet node, and we will do update row in sheet, and we will select from our Google Sheet, and we're going to map the fields to the correct values that we want to collect here. So number one, we're going to go ahead here and put in our prospect name. So that is Mark Benioff. So we're going to go ahead here and we can grab the full name and we can grab the LinkedIn profile as well. And we can grab the LinkedIn profile of the company. And then we'll also get the company website. And we will also grab the industry. And for news, we'll grab the article link. So here we have so for news, we'll grab the news that we had pulled in right here. So we'll grab this link. And for our company / prospect intelligence, we're going to grab our LLM object here. Then finally, we're going to grab our guidance from our LLM object. There we go. We've mapped across everything here now. So we could do test step here. And we forgot to add in our match on. So we're going to match on prospect name. We're going to go ahead here and run that. And now if we go back to our Google Sheet, we'll have a updated Google Sheet that contains all of the details that we just collected. And just like that, we've built out a complete battle card. So right now, this process was a little bit more complex than normal, but once you have these kind of sales AI agents built out, this will run like a well-oiled machine. As you add in prospect in here, it will automatically go through that workflow and update the Google Sheet for you, so you could add in 100 prospects and be prepared for 100 meetings in about 10-20 minutes, rather than it taking days or weeks to prepare for all your meetings. And there you have it, guys. There's our final workflow. Hope this video was helpful, and I wish you the best of luck building your sales AI agent.